Welcome to JEC Radar. Today, we're examining a significant development in the nation's capital, the convergence of National Guard members at the Washington Armory. This deployment follows an announcement by U.S. President Donald Trump to exert federal control over law enforcement in Washington, D.C. and deploy National Guard troops. This decision, intended to bolster security in the capital, has sparked considerable discussion, especially in light of recent crime statistics. President Trump's decision to place law enforcement in Washington, D.C. under federal control is framed by the administration as a move to enhance security within the capital. While specific threats or incidents prompting this decision were not immediately detailed in the announcement, the administration has consistently emphasized the need for a robust security presence in the city. However, this push for increased federal control and the deployment of the National Guard comes against a backdrop of reported declines in crime rates within Washington, D.C. Recent data indicates a downward trend in several categories of criminal activity. This contrast between the stated need for heightened security and the statistical reports of decreasing crime has fueled debate and raised questions about the underlying motivations for this decision. Following the president's directive, members of the National Guard have begun to converge at the Washington Armory. The National Guard, a component of the reserve military forces, can be called upon for various missions, including maintaining order during civil disturbances and providing support to law enforcement agencies. Their deployment in the capital signifies a significant federal response to perceived security needs. The exact nature and scope of the National Guard's deployment remain to be fully seen. Their role could range from providing logistical support and augmenting existing law enforcement to a more direct involvement in maintaining public order. The activation of the National Guard in this context places federal military personnel in a domestic law enforcement capacity, a move that historically has been approached with caution and subject to legal considerations. The decision to place federal control over local law enforcement and deploy the National Guard has drawn criticism from various quarters. Concerns have been raised about the potential for federal overreach into state and local affairs. The apparent disconnect between the administration's emphasis on security and the data indicating a decline in crime has led some to question the necessity and appropriateness of such a strong federal intervention. Legal experts and civil liberties advocates are likely to scrutinize the legal basis for this level of federal involvement and the potential impact on civil rights and the Posse Comitatus Act, which generally limits the use of the U.S. military for domestic law enforcement purposes. While there are exceptions, the context of declining crime rates adds complexity to the justification for this deployment. The convergence of the National Guard at the Washington Armory under federal control marks a notable development with potential implications for law enforcement and federal-state relations in the capital. As this situation unfolds, the focus will remain on the specifics of the deployment, the legal and constitutional considerations, and the long-term effects on the balance of power between federal and local authorities. We will continue to monitor this story and provide updates as they become available. Thank you for watching.